Welcome to the Evening Gamer. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Guy.
And I'm Ali.
Welcome, Ali.
Today.
Yeah, thanks.
Second Party Up episode.
Second Party Up.
Our Pokemon specialist.
That is correct. We're talking all things Pokemon today.
The inclusive podcast.
Yes, inclusive. We sort of go far and wide with our gaming knowledge.
We do.
Was that a feminism joke?
I don't know. Maybe.
Off to a cracker.
Yeah.
I feel like to start the episode, we should probably go around the room and admit what Pokemon games we have played, what stages of our Pokemon knowledge we are at. I'll start and sort of say I did the original on the Game Boy of Red, Green. And beyond that, not a lot since.
What a time. Game Boy Color.
That was fantastic.
With the light. Not even a backlight on those things.
Have you seen the movie Tetris, just quickly? Have you seen this movie Tetris?
I have not, no.
No, there's a great sequence in it where the character gets introduced to the first Game Boy. And it is fantastic the way they sort of reveal this new console they're going to release of sort of a handheld console. It's really impressive.
Well, because was the Game Boy Pocket the first one that came out and then you had the color?
No.
Yeah.
There was like the OG Game Boy and it was all sort of black and white.
That's right. Yeah, because that's why the Game Boy Color was called the Game Boy
Yeah, that
Color.
would be right. Yes.
The Game Boy was was the first love that I had for like a handheld console, if a console at all.
I think
like
so.
we're talking 99.
Yeah, I think I had the Game Boy
old.
first before I had anything else. Yeah.
Ali, did you ever play your Game Boy Color? Did you have a Game Boy Color?
I did have a Game Boy Color. I remember playing it before it had a backlight. So we used to have to get those things that you could affix.
Yeah,
the USB plug-in on the side of the Game Boy.
I don't even think it was USB.
It wasn't USB.
It was some precursor USB
and it powered itself.
Yeah.
And you had to change the batteries. It didn't even have a fucking charging
over the top sort of thing.
But
it looked so whack.
You were playing late at night and your mum would come in and you're playing under the covers and you needed to hide it. You couldn't just close it. You had to turn the light off. You had to turn the console off.
Just trying to hide that.
Required a lot of coordination.
I hated the music on the originals. I played it on silent the whole time.
That's
okay. Yeah.
What was the first Pokemon game you played?
Well, yeah, the red, green, OGs.
Red, green, blue.
Yeah.
I've got blue on a Game Boy Color right now. Yellow, I think, came out the year later, which was when Pikachu followed you around.
Maybe I am younger.
But they were good games because they had Mew and Mewtwo. Do you remember that little fiasco that was going on?
Do you remember when the Pokemon movie came out?
Which one?
Like, well, the
first
one with Mew in it.
Where fucking Ash gets turned to stone.
Yeah.
And all the tears save him.
You remember it better than I do.
And it was Mewtwo at the end as well. Yeah.
Mewtwo was the bad guy. And Mew is still the OG Pokemon. Mew, the smaller, way more powerful cat that was hiding in the cave the whole time.
God. I mean, even before, obviously, we get to the gaming part, the Pokemon cards, man, what a time to be alive.
I know. And how they smell. You get a new deck and you just give it a nice...
so good. I remember my dad used to go to the States and come back with Pokemon cards he'd bought from like shops and you could buy specific cards in the US. And he came back and he'd sit me and my brother down at the dining room table and hand us both one card at a time. And he didn't know what was good and what was bad. And I'm sitting there and he's pulling over like a Charizard. And I'm fucking pulling over... Rattata or whatever. And I'm just like, I was spitting chips. I'm pretty sure me and my brother went to blows over those Pokemon cards.
What an awful way to hand them out.
I know, right?
Just give you a deck and you a deck and fuck off.
Exactly.
Go figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, but then you trade. That was the whole...
It was a trading game at heart.
At my age, my trading was atrocious. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll get 5 Rattatats for like a fucking good card. Like,
that's crazy. We used to play poker. We used to play card games.
Yeah.
Of games.
Did you ever understand the rules of Pokemon, the card game, when you did it?
Not a chance.
I just
remember playing Crazy Bones and then trading. Remember Crazy Bones?
Crazy Bones. You had so many of those.
Crazy Bones, bro. I had like a whole...
You had one of those like biscuit tins full of them.
Yeah. I never even understood how to play
so
Crazy Bones.
It was that, Beyblades, and then trading Pokemon cards.
Oh, Beyblades.
That's my youth.
Wow, this is nostalgia. But coming back to the question at hand, so how many Pokemon games have you played?
Well, I was just looking at the list, right? And there's actually not as many games as I thought there were. So Red and Blue came out in 98, Yellow 99, Gold Silver 2000, Crystal 01, Ruby Sapphire 03, Emerald 05, Diamond and Pearl 07, Platinum, which I've never heard of before, 09, Black and White 11, Black and White 2, so that must have been successful, 2012, X and Y 13, Sun and Moon. So I am discovering going through this list that I took quite the hiatus. Yeah. It looks like I took a break from, I don't know, fucking 07 to 2017. But
okay,
anyway,
well, let's put a number on it. How many of those have you actually played though?
I've played, I would say at least 12.
And Ali?
Ooh, I've probably done 4, which makes me sound quite...
But also there's a lot that goes on here because when you think over the course of what is this, 25 years, how many times has it changed device and platform? So you've gone from the color to the SP to the advanced to the cube.
Which ones did you play?
From the Wii to the fucking
Switch.
And like that hurts you in keeping up with the franchise because you need to update your platform with the games.
Yeah. Ali, so 4?
I played Yellow, and then I went into Ruby, and then after Ruby I've done 5. I did Diamond, and then I've done Shield, and I've done Violet. So 5.
Of the obviously, every listener out there has heard Taylor and I and a lot of the games we've played, but what's drawn Pokemon to you, Ali? Why that series?
Ooh. So, I mean, based on the dates you just mentioned, Taylor, when the first ones came out, I was the ripe age of 2.
Yeah.
And thereafter, I was probably 3 or 4 when I picked up Yellow, which is still quite young. So I think given that, it's a very good introductory game. And also, I grew up in a house with brothers and they were playing it and I just kind of wanted to be a part of it. So, you beg your parents for a Game Boy and you get one. And
yeah,
I moved in that way. And I found it wasn't an intimidating game.
No.
These combat games, these ones where you had to think quickly, I didn't have the motor skills to do so. So I think Pokemon was a good entry-level game.
It's a good point, but also, I think you forget the franchise that Pokemon was, late 90s, early 2000s. Like that, it was that and the 64 with like Super Smash Brothers. So when you thought of gaming, it was Pokemon. It was Pokemon.
It was sort of the Nintendo sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, as we discovered, as we doing the research on this one, the Nintendo franchise or, that company has huge market share. Crazy market share.
Yeah, in terms of blitzing sales numbers.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about this because one of the questions I had for today was, shouldn't it... Because this is my experience with Pokemon lately, is I don't think Violet, which Ali was talking about just a moment ago, I think it's one of the worst games in the last 10 years.
Why?
So I've been noticing jumping from Xbox to the Switch, the difference in processing power, and it's actually quite substantial. So like one of the games that I can draw parallels between obviously is Hogwarts. It looks actually quite stunning on the Xbox, and on the Nintendo Switch I was watching Ali play the other week. It looks fucking awful. Like it looks like you're playing a game from 03 on a PC with a back the size of a fucking small TV.
But the game also wasn't made for Switch, right? I mean, they
ported.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, cross-platform, like you think PS5, it would still be up to the processing of something that can make it look good. On the Switch, it just doesn't look that good. So one of the questions I had was, should Nintendo, and they haven't really done this since the Cube, should they go back to making a competitive console? Or is there no point in them taking the fight to the other two?
Well, when we were doing the prep, we're sort of taking the fight to them. Arguably they've won the fight due to their sales.
Yeah. And I think that speaks true because I, as an Xbox gamer, have both. I have the Switch and the Xbox, but there'd be very few gamers that would have the PS5 and the Xbox. So I think if you think of like overlap of console, you're more likely to have a Nintendo and a tier 1 console or a PC and be an M&K gamer than you are to have a double up across the other consoles. So what were the actual numbers? Like what are the numbers as of today since the Switch, Xbox One and the PS5 came out?
Pull up the image.
Here you go. I'll have a look now for you. Here it is here. So to date, PS5, 55 million. The XS and Xbox, and this doesn't look good for them, 28 million. So they're not doing too well. But yeah, Nintendo, 138 million. So taking up 62% of market share there. But that's fucking massive. You're right. That's absolutely blitzed it.
Yeah.
And it's also smart because they've owned these franchises. Pokemon, Zelda, these types of things. You can't play them on any other console.
And Mario.
Which
is the best-selling game series ever, and Pokemon's 2. So have the top 2 best-selling game series of all time. No wonder they've made the most sales.
And they've redone Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart. Ali's good at Super Smash Brothers.
I am.
It's a fucking nerd on it.
I beat
you. It's actually really frustrating.
I was playing it with Emily the other day.
The other fortnight on it.
I was playing it with Emily the other day and I spat dummy and was just like, fuck this somehow.
Mario Kart will ruin families also. No, I think you've got to go back to what Nintendo is for people, right? So I come on here today as someone that's only been a Nintendo player. True. I haven't really gone on to Xbox. I haven't gone on to PS5 or any of the PSs. frankly, because I never got introduced. And you've got to remember that the Nintendo was a console for entry level. It was when you were a kid, it was accessible, and the people that have, that remain loyalists to it have gotten older, and that's still a big market, but they're still targeting that really young market as well with games that are quite accessible. Yeah. And when you talk about, the graphics and the power of the console and the processing speed, you've got to remember what the Switch is, right? Like it's a handheld device. You're taking it off port to be able to take it on holiday, and you keep kids entertained and things like that. So they're trying to achieve a completely different thing, and they're trying to hit an entirely different market. And I think that's why they do so well. And I think to any extent you start to bucket them in with the PlayStations and the Xboxes of the world. They're just competing in a space that's already saturated.
Yeah, and it's a good point, because one of the qualms I have with the new Pokemon is I feel like Pokemon used to be made for gamers, and now it's made for fucking children. Ooh. Like I was playing the introduction to Violet last night, and it's a ridiculous amount of handholding. Right. The amount that when you jump into a good game, whatever it might be, like I don't know, let's use Sekiro as an example, and the game takes you through the tutorial. So you start in level 1, which is a cave, and gradually as you make your way through the cave, you learn how to use your sword, you learn how to sprint, you learn how to craft, because the game takes you through that tutorial. Pokemon decides to give you 4 people that just talk to you constantly through that tutorial, and it fucking turned me off.
Right. I mean, I would say to counter that point that the Pokemon games were never for, it comes down to what's the definition of a true gamer. I think if we were to review one of these, we'd never really put it too high on the challenge area.
That actually is a good question. What is the definition of a true gamer then? Would you consider someone that plays Magic the Gathering in person a true gamer? With the cards? Well, the cards and the fucking arm piece.
No, I wouldn't.
Why are they not?
So a true gamer, definition of a true gamer. Well, I mean, there's the gamer that is with the cards, and that wouldn't be, I mean, a gamer in this definition we're talking about on any console, is sort of playing on computer. That is what we're defining as a gamer. I wouldn't really say anybody Dungeons and Dragons or card games, these kind of things. It's more like tabletop gaming.
So is being a true gamer skill level or versatility?
Well, I mean, I would.
Or can it come in both forms?
Yeah, true gamer is just if you own a console and you play consistently.
If someone's like, yeah, man, I play games. Yeah, I'm all over it. I play COD and all this type of shit, right? And then you went over to their house and they play on a mobile. Would you laugh them out the room, or would that be like?
Well, mobile gaming is always a laughable area.
Well, they've got those controllers that you can attach to your phone now.
True.
And play shit like that. And there's actual comps for mobile games, just as big as the ALGS that people go and spectate and watch.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, I don't consider myself a gamer per se. When people ask me are you a gamer girl? Which I hate that term. No, I don't think I am, because it's something that I pick up casually when I have the time. And, obviously that's the whole premise of this podcast.
Yeah, you're
it's
an
kind of
gamer.
the evening gamer, and I understand that. But I always considered it people that kind of took it to a more serious level. They kind of went online. They had the full headset to the extent they wanted to stream or something like that. That's when I kind of got to what I'd consider gamer level. Because I hear your point. I mean, if you game, are you not a gamer? I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you have someone building your house, there's the builder and then there's the labourer.
Right.
The true gamer is the builder.
I mean, a gamer girl definitely gives images of, the sort of headset streamer kind of, for the views kind of thing where, there's just girls who play games.
Yeah. The other question I had is, should Pokemon have transitioned from top down to third person? Because when they came out with Sword and Shield in 2009, it was their first like
third person.
Open world, third person. Top down is when you're looking down over the character, very much the Game Boy layout, and you're just walking around with the D-pad. Yeah. Right, the arrow D-pad.
I mean, it's they needed to make a jump. I think it was natural. Their processing power improved. They could do that. You couldn't remain always that top down. I think people would have probably gone, it's the same thing every year. I mean, that's the criticism everybody has of all these kind of games, the CODs, anything of going, it's just a sort of the same game over and over and over again. So making that shift certainly was, I think something they needed to do.
Yeah, and it's maybe gotten a bit repetitive as well. There's currently 9 generations of Pokemon, which I didn't know that there were that many. And there's 1,025 Pokemon now, including evolutions. Is that too many?
Well, I mean, is it too many? I mean, the gaming sales would say no, and
True.
So people are still buying it. So,
I I think as well, you've got to look at the screen that people are now playing on, right? You get a Switch, you're playing it on a television. If you had that top-down sort of, whatever you call it, like that, then, I mean, it feels like a waste of space, frankly. You've opened up the console to having all this space and this visibility and things like that. Plus, not to mention, gaming was moving into the open world platform. And I think Pokemon looked at that and said, we need to remain relevant.
They need to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah. If another top-down Pokemon game came out, would you play it? Or would it just turn you off? Would you be reactive? And here's another question. If you were to describe Pokemon now, like say you met someone that knew nothing about it but wanted to get into gaming and they were like, oh, I've heard of this Pokemon thing. What game would you tell them about and what period of Pokemon would you tell them about? Because it wouldn't be the latest 5 years for me.
No, I agree. For me, it would be Ruby.
For me, it'd be like Yellow. Pikachu following you around. Professor What's His Tits. What's his name?
Oak.
Oh, well
It
done.
was, yeah, Professor
Jeez,
Oak.
called on it very nicely, guy.
The only reason I know that is because there was a card for real fake Professor Oak or something. It became a family joke all the time. I don't know. It was my dad. He always used to make that joke of real fake Professor Oak. He was like, I've seen a doctor today and it was giving real fake Professor Oak.
Did you hear the fandom as well behind the fact that Professor Oak was always banging your mum? Because your dad was never around.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard this?
Yes, I have.
So, like, your dad was never around, and every time...
it was always the mum sending you off, wasn't it?
Sending you off, shooing you out.
Yes.
And after your first mission, I think it's actually in Sapphire. After your first mission in Sapphire, you come back and Oak's in your house, and you're like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
You're making a cuck out of me here. What's happening?
Yeah.
Also, your mum was never that happy to see you. You'd pick up the game after 3 years and go back home, and she's like,
Oh,
hey,
happy you're here.
Yeah.
Hope you're well.
Oh, here's my firstborn, my 12-year-old.
Yeah.
How's
you go fight another gym leader?
Yeah.
I want to bang Professor
you've made it
Oak.
to the Pokemon League. Good. Yeah. Mind you, we never sent money home to her, did we? And you become quite rich in those games.
Yeah.
Every fucking bug trainer that you annihilate, you get 500 cash.
Was it always the
Straight
case?
up cash from them. And you send none of it home. You just spend it on great balls.
Was it always the case that when you lost a battle, you had to pay them? Because I didn't think that ever happened in the earlier...
when you
it
white
did
out.
happen. Maybe
When
I
you
just
white
didn't
out,
lose
yeah.
very much.
Oh, I didn't white out that often.
I never remember paying them, but in the latest generation, I've seen that, I lose money when I lost a match, which I didn't recall from the earlier ones, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Well, there used to be an element of challenge in the original ones. Remember when you went in a cave, you couldn't just you can't fast travel in those games.
Escape rope.
You had to use escape ropes. Yeah, exactly.
True. And you had to prep what Pokemon you were going to roll for what areas. You know,
Yeah.
I've gone, I'm heavy on fire, but I'm going into a psych kind of area. It's,
Yeah.
I reckon this might be contentious, but was Pokemon the first game to introduce the concept of grinding? Grinding for a level.
This is a
to
great
prime
question.
in.
This is a great question because, and the idea behind grinding is like, do you grind to try and keep up with the game or do you grind to make a game easier? Because if you really truly went in for the grind, you could just get all your Pokemon to level 70. The whole game would be an absolute walkthrough for you.
Yeah. It would take you a very long time if you're
but there was I remember spending countless hours training up Pokemon to either
Same.
evolve them or make them strong enough to absolutely take on the league.
The other franchise I can point to possibly that introduced grinding is WoW. I think that
World
World
of
of Warcraft,
Warcraft,
that was
yeah.
around probably back then, and that obviously is heavy grinding.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to say on this. I think definitely. And I think in the new generations, you've lost the need to grind, and that's for a multitude of reasons. So firstly, you needed to grind to train them, obviously, and you needed to get ready for the Pokemon League. And the Pokemon League in the earlier gens was hard. It was hard to get through.
You couldn't heal between. You had to use elixirs and stuff like this. Yeah.
And you had to get them very strong. The other thing as well is you needed to have Pokemon hold certain moves that in battle weren't actually particularly effective nor strong, but you needed to have them hold the moves to actually pursue through the game or work through the
like
game.
Strength and boulder
Strength
moving,
and
Fly,
and rock
surf.
smash and swim or surf, and fly. And that's how you actually navigated the map. And
that was creative. That was smart.
Very
And see,
creative.
This comes back to my point that it used to be made for gamers and now it's made for fucking children. It is made for children now.
But
Is it because we were kids, children when we played it first, and now we're older, so it doesn't have the same?
It's a good thought, but think of the discrepancies that we're saying between the generations now.
And the other thing
how much
is,
more of a challenge the Pokemon League used to be with the colours.
I mean,
how it is now.
It's an interesting question. I'd love to pose it to the listeners to say, has Pokemon got easier?
Yeah.
And
Has it?
I think
Like,
it does,
you know.
yeah.
You
I'd
know,
like to
your-
hear thoughts on that.
Your XP as well. I mean, it used to be that you had to use that Pokemon in battle, or it had to appear in battle to obtain XP for that Pokemon. So often if you had a really shit Pokemon, you'd kind of start it out in the match and then you'd pull it back
Switch it out.
and
yeah.
put a new Pokemon in. Whereas these days, it doesn't matter who's
Really?
fighting. The one that's fighting will get more XP, but your whole party gets XP from a battle.
Not
So-
only from the battle, but also catching Pokemon,
Because I
which
like
never
that
used
was
to be a
that
thing.
was smart.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, okay, which Pokemon I'm going to put out, hoping they don't get pied by the first moveset,
Yeah.
and then switch to a better
And you
one.
had to go and mine fucking rare candies and try and level them up. You drop them off at the daycare and they'd
But
get
also-
one level every 6 months, you
But
know?
also in Gen 2, they brought in the ability to give attachments to Pokemon and have them hold on to something. Like they could hold on to berries. And there was this one item that they could hold on to. It was like a coin, and it would give them experience no matter if they showed their face in the battle. And it was a super rare item. You only had one of them.
Amulet coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could just battle your strongest Pokemon, and your weakest would get experience as well.
Wow.
Mm.
It would like almost clone or duplicate the experience. Like
Yeah.
that's creative, man.
That is. Did we ever get into Pokemon Go?
I tried, but then I'd try and go and catch Pokemon. There'll be 14 other like fucking
Yeah.
people there trying to do the same thing. I was like, I'm not doing this.
Weren't there people like falling off bridges trying to catch a
Yeah.
Charizard and stuff?
There was like genuine stampedes.
yeah, it's sort of
the
synonymous
RNG
with
of Pokemon, just
planking.
Charizard's out in the Pacific, just out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And you got to go
Yeah.
out there and fucking catch him.
Yeah.
I imagine there's so
Liability
many people
101.
have got stories from that time.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
It's still going, isn't it?
It is.
It's still going.
Yeah, I mean, I think its take up has dwindled, but
Oh,
yeah, it's
yeah,
still
for
still
sure.
going.
There was that
There was a
window,
period.
that, like I feel like it was over a summer holidays. It was like you'd literally be out and about and you just see like 30 people on a street corner and you're like,
Yeah.
what is the weirdest residential street
going on?
corner?
Yeah.
So peculiar.
I was at university at the time actually, and there was a statue in my university, and the statue had a very good Pokemon in it. I can't remember what it was, and literally the entirety of the university cohort was just, crowding around this statue, and people didn't know what was going on, and they're just like, "What the hell?"
It's either a
is
drug
this?
deal or it's Pokemon Go.
For me, I actually it kind of gives me perspective, because when I leave the house. It's like, okay, I'm not gaming. I'm leaving the house. I'm going to do something. I'm running errands, right? And then you're right. You pull up to a street corner and there's 30 people there trying to catch a fucking ride on, and you look at yourself and you're like, oh, could be worse. Could be worse. I could be gaming at home, and fucking the only reason I'm leaving is also to game.
I mean, arguably you could counter argument that of going, it got people out of the house.
Yeah, to their deaths.
To do Pokemon in RL.
Well, like they're out and about, they're getting some
Looking at
sun,
their
they're hanging out
phones,
with their
coming-
friends,
It was a serious problem. People were getting really injured. They were walking around with their head
Yeah.
in their phones, and there was multiple incidents.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny as fuck. I wonder how they passed off that liability. There's just a disclaimer before you download the app. If you kill self whilst playing,
Could you imagine?
It's not Game Freak's
Have you
problem.
heard that the Disney lawsuit that's been in the news recently?
No.
This is very on topic of this sort of stuff. So some guy went to, I think he was a chef or something. He went to Disneyland, got sick or had an accident. I can't remember specifically what happened to him. Died, and then the family sued Disney for negligence or something. And their defense was because he downloaded Disney Plus, the streaming app. In the terms and conditions, meant that he couldn't sue, or the family couldn't sue.
Crazy.
Wow. So it was just pertaining to the entire Disney franchise and company.
How insane is that? Like,
That's
I
a
think-
massive legal loophole.
I think they've backed down now. I think, but like, could you imagine where you just like that blew my mind. It was
I'm
such a
surprised
story.
that they fought that in court, because usually these massive corporations,
Especially Disney.
Yeah.
Like, you got all the money in the world. Just pay the family off.
just give
If
them
it was a
$200,000 or
negligent
whatever,
death,
right?
Like,
Settle
come
it
on.
outside of court, yeah.
But
Which is what they
could
do
you-
most of the time.
Could you just picture the lawyers in the room going, "Ha, we've got him!" Like, you saved
Actually, he
the-
watched like one episode of Family Guy on like Disney Streaming Plus once, and he ticked a box that said, if you
Just
die
wild.
while watching our streaming, go fuck yourself.
Those T's and C's. I mean, have you ever, even when you start up any game, at the start of the game, there is often, if it's a live service one, an acceptance thing that you've got to go through of a T's and C's.
I used to read them.
No.
I used to read
Really?
them. I used
It's
to.
a lengthy read.
I used to.
Like,
Yeah.
you switched off.
I
I've got
used
Times
to-
of Premium. I wouldn't be reading it.
It depends. It depends what it was. If it was just a game, probably not. But RuneScape, I did. Used to play RuneScape online. I read that one.
Habbo Hotel, I
Habbo
did.
Hotel. Fuck. Habbo Hotel. You could
Is
do
he?
nothing.
No one.
That was the first game that brought in in-game currency, in-app purchases. You could do nothing on Habbo Hotel without spending money.
Well, fuck them for bringing in-app purchases.
Let's talk about Violet or Arceus, which are the two latest games, or Sword and Shield. Like, let's talk about where Pokemon has ended up, because it looks very, very different now.
Does.
You've played Violet. I got the introduction to it last night. I've certainly spoken my mind on it.
Is this the most recent?
Violet,
recent.
yeah. I've also played Shield, which is the one right before that. So,
What did you think of the storyline? Give us a quick 20 seconds of the storyline, if at all it's any different from any of the others.
The gym league.
So I mean, I'll refer to, I'll do Violet as it's a bit fresher. The storyline's a little bit different. You're kind of attending a university. So you're going to the UVA Academy. I don't know how to pronounce it. And effectively you're going to
The
school.
UVA.
Yeah, UVA, which I think means egg in Italian. So I'm not sure who. I know it's grape. Sorry. Anyway.
They got strong Japanese roots. I don't reckon they're talking Italian.
Yeah, true. That's
At Mario.
Fucking
True.
true. Did you know that when his little catchphrase "It's me" means super in Italian?
Yeah, I heard that. But
So
apparently,
he's not actually saying "It's me, Mario." He's saying "Super Mario" in fucking
yeah,
Italian.
Itsami is like apparently a Japanese
Didn't
term.
And
know
all us
that.
Westerners are like, "It's me,
It's me,
motherfucker."
I'm
No, I looked into that. I was really curious about that. I saw it on Instagram and I looked into it, and it got slightly debunked. So I'm not actually clear on what the answer is there. I'm grey.
But does Mario doesn't talk in the games. He just goes woohoo, woohoo when you throw him around. So I don't know if he talks Italian or if he talks English in the game.
You throw Mario around.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah, but why is he
Did you do that
speaking?
little long jump thing? That was fucking so useful.
But he's not speaking
Getting away from
Japanese, is
Bow
he?
Wow.
But Bow Wow?
Yeah, the dog.
What?
Yeah, you don't know Bow Wow?
Yeah, go on.
No, I thought.
Anyway, you're at the
thinking of
UVA.
Bowser.
Yeah, so you're at the academy, and the academy, to be fair, to your point about it really tailoring to beginners and things like that, you can go and enter classes at the academy, and it teaches you all about the special attack and special defense stats, and the ordinary stats and things like that, and what's strong against what, and weaknesses. So
Is it
on and
optional?
So forth.
Is it a gimmick?
Very optional. So
Yeah, I actually don't mind
But
that.
is that
very
a gimmick
optional.
for the tutorial though? Like if you
No.
You got to do the
Oh,
tutorial.
you have to do these classes.
you don't have to do the classes. The classes are
No,
optional.
you don't have to do the classes.
Right, yeah.
You
But
can
have to do
walk
the
into
tutorial.
the academy and you can choose to enroll in a class or not. But otherwise, you can just take on the story. So the story is you are, as per usual in any Pokemon game, you're trying to become a very strong trainer. And you're trying to beat 8 gyms and you're trying to get to the Pokemon League and defeat the Pokemon League. At which point you become a champion. There are sort of separate side missions in this one. So I'd say it kind of follows 3 streams of what you're trying to achieve. So there's also Team Star, which, is obviously a knockoff of what we've seen
Team
in the
Rocket.
past with Team Rocket
Yeah.
and Team Magma and
They've
all
had
the
a few,
rest.
Yeah.
But the storyline around those guys, it's very different. It's become much more woke. So what we're actually seeing is it's all quite politically correct. And the reason, and I don't want to give too many
We were
things
talking
away.
about this last week, Guy.
I don't want to give too much away, but it's very much like it's these kids, they were outcasts, and there's an element of bullying, and that's how they came to be and things like that. So I won't spoil who's who and who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, so on and so forth.
PC and gaming. It's becoming- not so much PC, but just this introduction of inclusivity
Yeah.
and how it's actually being a little bit policed.
Right.
And it had a very strong very strong, can I speak, sort of bullying and whatnot, which to be fair, for a bunch of kids, it's a big problem. I'm not that mad about it.
Do you reckon that's an overarching theme in some of these games because gamers used to be bullied? Like you think like way back when, your high school drama, there were the jocks and then the kind of nerds, right?
Yeah.
And typically, how the fucking narrative's gone is that the jocks would always pick on the gamers and the nerds.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like because gamers
like, let's
inherently
unite.
got bullied, but I think it's just because these games are probably a little bit more marketed to kids.
Yeah.
Kids experience it. And I think kids probably playing this game, they feel a level of relation to who the character they're playing. And if
Yeah.
they're being
That's a good
bullied,
point. Yeah.
And each of those leaders, they really embody a different type of, not quirk, but, something that makes them different. And I think that's very much honed in on in the storyline, that people are different and bullying isn't tolerable and so on.
Fair enough.
So that's one of the sort of work streams, if
just
you will.
with that for 1 sec. So you think about like when you're playing that first game and you're going through the reads and you come across like the nerdy bug catcher and then you just pie them like
You
who's
just
the
see him with
bully
his,
in that situation?
you just see him with his fucking little caterpillars, and you've got Charizard ready to go, and you're like, bro, I don't even have Ember anymore.
but that's
I've
when
just
you
got
go back-
straight up flamethrower. Like, I'm going to obliterate you and your family at this point.
Yeah, but you can't go back to Area 1 when you've beat the Pokemon League.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
can.
really
Yeah,
fair.
Back in the OG
Fun.
ones, you could.
You get
I'd love
2
to,
experience points.
Do like a realistic version of it where you see Charizard just lighting up Game of Thrones, all these bugs.
Imagine just being this little bug catcher. You're like, all right, Mum, going out. See you tonight. Don't mess around with Oak while I'm away. And then you go into the forest and you're like, just catching some Pokemon, enjoying the butterflies, and a fucking dragon rocks up. You'd be like, what the?
But also,
Team
don't
Rocket
challenge
kidnaps
me
you.
then.
Yeah, don't
And
don't
that's-
yeah.
I'll tell
don't
you
draw my
what,
attention.
That's another
Give me your
sort of
$500
side note, segue.
You basically just go through a forest mugging people.
yeah.
That's pretty much what
That's the
you're doing at
game.
that point.
That's the other part of the game I kind of like, though, because do you remember when you were just trying to get through something quickly and then you see tall grass and you're just going, oh, fuck me.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want
I
to walk
used to
through
use
this.
those rare sprays, the
repellents.
The repellents.
And also, you wouldn't see a trainer because it was hiding sneakily behind a rock, and then you get that exclamation
Yeah.
mark, and you're just going, "Oh, shoot me!"
Again.
You know, you've got a lot more optionality in the new game of what you want to battle and what you don't, because you can kind of see the Pokemon literally roaming about. You can choose to throw a Pokeball at them, or you can even just choose to send your Pokemon out to fight them, and you don't have to actually engage in the gameplay.
But in the new generations, this is something you brought up last night as we're going through the intro as well. There's no mystery in Pokemon anymore.
That's
Like
also
catching the early legendaries, you had to go through tall grass and just hope that. Remember, you had a little beacon where you could see where they last were.
true. Yeah.
Is Pokemon the beginning of RNG of the?
It was.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Random number generator, absolutely. The RNG element in the early games was huge.
How often did you have to walk through the reeds to try and hope that you pop the one Pokemon?
It was almost
Yeah.
100% of the game.
Yeah.
And now you get introduced to the legendary in Violet in the first cutscene.
Well, so that was going to be my
Right.
sort of third work stream of the game, which is interesting. It's you don't get that thrill anymore of going and finding the legendary. And, you know, you've already built up a solid base of Pokemon. You've got a good team, and then you've got to kind of make the decision of who to replace with your legendary. You don't have that challenge anymore. They introduce the legendary to you immediately. But the legendary isn't immediately usable. So there's a whole nother sort of part of the game whereby you are strengthening your legendary such that when the final battle happens, you're equipped to kind of use it. And I'm sorry if that's a spoiler. You can kind of cut that out. I don't think it is.
The whole game with the legendary with you.
Yeah, and you know it fills another role. So this is kind of how it becomes the.
It's basically a bicycle. It
Well,
has
you
wheels.
don't. This is
Right.
why you don't need surf. You don't need fly. You don't need all these sort of things. Your legendary assists you in that respect.
Which is,
But
yeah.
it takes out a really exciting element of the game, I think.
Yeah, you used to get the legendary right before the league, and that would help you a lot in the league.
I feel like back in the start, you'd finish the league, then you'd go find the legendary almost afterwards. Like,
Well, remember, you used to get the Master Ball. So in Sapphire, which is the last one I played on the SP, so the handheld kind of Game Boy experience, you got your legendary. Okay, so there's kind of like the legendary Pokemon of that game, and then for the early generations, there was always the overarching Mew and Mewtwo. Those guys that you got well after the league, but the initial legendaries you used to get before the league.
Yep.
Which is kind of the old. It's kind of the old like, you get the best thing at the end of the game, and you're like, why would I use this now? You're more just ticking a box than you are getting that Pokemon to actually fucking use it. And Mew was like level 99 every time, so it would never listen to you. But I digress.
And that was very much the case with the latest as well. I mean, again, in fear of giving too much away, once you get the capability to use it, it's almost useless. And you get no joy out of it because of the short period for which you get to use it.
Yeah. Were there any extras in this that surprised you or added value? Anything that happened that you were like, that was nice, that was creative, that was good, I give it points for that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few like little side bits, and again, I won't give it away, but you can find these sort of stakes in the ground, and that's a sort of side mission. And they do have, quite a few side quests you can kind of work through. They've introduced like these sandwiches and stuff like that, and picnics, and you can heal your Pokemon up along the way, which are helpful, but again, they're not necessary for the core game. It's obviously open world. You can run around a lot more. That's good in many respects. But personally, I found it confusing. And I didn't realize until the ends that I could actually walk up to a Pokemon Center and say, hey, where should I go next? And it kind of gives you guidance. So what I didn't realize is I was just dropping into gyms. And I did Gym 7 before I did Gym 4.
Yeah,
and it didn't stop me from doing it, which, you know, in the previous games, you needed X amount of badges to take on the next gym. So sequentially, it kind of got a bit confusing at times.
So it's almost like they've actually blurred the lines between not enough autonomy and not enough direction, which I don't know how you fuck up both of those things in a game. I don't know. Like, I played Arceus in 2019 and that was fun. You could actually run around and sneak up on Pokemon and throw Pokeballs at them without having to battle them. They would hurt you as well. They'd chase you if they were aggressive, and you could white out without even going into a Pokemon battle. That was good. You could craft in that game.
What game was this?
Arceus came out in 2022, sorry, not 2019.
Have you played many of the Pokemon sort of spin-off, you know, lights? You know, sort of, there was Pal World, I think, was one that came out a little bit ago that was got a bit of following to it. And then there was one I played a little while back, Sea of Stars, which had very Pokemon sort
which
of
we've
OG.
reviewed.
We reviewed it, yeah.
Yeah, look, not so much. I remember trying one of them, and it was actually third person, and it wasn't the same, man. It was, and like, I think we can all agree that the best generation of Pokemon is Gen 1. Like, you think Gyarados, you think Charizard,
I mean, that's what everybody
Mew,
remembers.
the OG Pikachu, like Squirtle, Blastoise, Venusaur, like these types of Pokemon. That is Pokemon, and it's been for me a little bit disappointing ever since then. And if a game doesn't incorporate or integrate Gen 1 into it in some, like even in Violet last night when I was playing it, there was a Diglett. Right. Remember Diglett? He was hanging out in a cave, and I was like, so there's Gen 1 in this game as well, because I think even they understand that Pokemon is Gen 1.
Well, I was pretty disappointed opening the new games, and maybe it's because I didn't have it so ingrained in me. I didn't have the knowledge ingrained in me on what these Pokemon were. But I almost preferred it. I would have preferred it if they just kept the Generation 1 Pokemon throughout the entire franchise, because those that have been loyalists to the game, you know, they know the sort of stats of those Pokemons. They know what's strong, they know what gets strong, they know how they can evolve. And, you know, maybe you need an element of something new and exciting. But I honestly picked up the game feeling like I'd never played it before, because I didn't know what I wanted to get, or kind of who I wanted to play with, or what I wanted my team to be. And I felt completely lost as someone that's played this my whole life. Yeah,
and they didn't navigate the space very well of like, let's introduce you to this game if you're a new player, and let's maybe not introduce you if you're an old player. Like, Violet was teaching me how to Pokemon again last night. Like, the whole thing. This is a Pokeball. This is how to throw a Pokeball. This is how you catch something. It's like, I fucking know.
Yeah, but there are people that
I've
don't.
been playing this since 99. Like, and it just, I don't know, the hand-holding really turned me off. Like,
it even tells you what moves are super effective and what moves aren't, and what moves are weak. And that was a core skill of the game. I know what to use here. What's strong against steel, what's strong against water, what's, you know.
Yeah, or you'd come up against the rock gym and you're like, all right, I need my ground Pokemon or my fighting Pokemon or my water Pokemon ready to go. I'm not going to use any birds. Like, that would be dumb. And it's just, I don't know, the mystery's gone, which is why I say it used to be made for gamers, and now it's made for kids. It's made for kids.
Does Pokemon need a glow up?
Oh, I think it actually needs a 5. Do what Rockstar have done. Take 5 years, right?
Right.
Actually make a game that can engage all skill levels of Pokemon, based on, I don't know, what resonates with you from those games. And actually, like, if this was to come over to Xbox and you made like a Breath of the Wild game of Pokemon, it would be fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But they just don't do that. They just go linear.
They seem
bullshit.
to be trying to do that.
Yeah,
but
and
missing the mark.
It's just rinse and repeat.
Or, I mean, as a quick fix, just have a difficulty option. You know, I've played so many games. Hogwarts, for example, you can pick what level of difficulty you want it to be. And maybe those little hints, tips, tricks, they kind of all start to wash away as you start to increase the difficulty. You know, the XP leveling up as you're not using that Pokemon, that disappears. Like, actually bring back the challenging component of the game.
Yeah.
I said this about Zelda, but I'd love to have an R18 version of Pokemon.
Yeah. But I also think that being able to choose...
What would that look like?
just Diglett's getting burnt alive.
Jesus Christ.
Like, you know.
It is funny because at the crux of the game, you're battling animals against other animals. It actually is quite ruthless.
It is.
And they're fainting and dying constantly.
Yeah.
And it's made up to be this, it's so much fun. Like, you know, just capture all these things and hold them prisoner. They're your pets now.
I mean, and these Pokemon, they're self-aware. They're
They are.
intelligent.
They are.
You know,
Also, before you catch it and make it your family, beat it to an inch of its life.
Yeah, exactly. Poison that motherfucker. That'll help.
You know, I don't want to say it, but it's kind of slavery.
It is.
It is.
With extra steps.
You guys always get political.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that the franchise as a whole, it's a bit watered down now. It's what's the right word? It's there's too much inflated. What's the fucking word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
You've just inflated the market with Pokemon, and there's too many generations.
Saturated.
Saturated is the word. Thank you.
Also, it's too woke. Like, one of the gym leaders was an influencer. We didn't need that.
No.
You know what I mean?
And putting an influencer in a game is being a bad influence on kids.
True. And I have nothing against influencers. I'll say that right here for the record. I don't. But, I mean, the Pokemon gym leader is not an influencer. They're a Pokemon gym leader.
It's an interesting point, though, because, like, sort of put an influencer in the game. Are they trying to then cater to the modern market of what's out there? But then you've got all these kids nowadays, and you go, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're saying, I want to be an influencer. And you're like, come on. Like,
look,
that's bad.
I have nothing against influencers as well, but if you don't really know what you influence and you have that public figure thing on your Instagram, we're off to a bad start.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to be one of my people.
It's a weird career choice.
Yeah, public figure's an interesting choice.
Yeah. That is 40 minutes of Pokemon chat.
That is. Apologies for my voice, everybody. It was a bit raspy. I had a big night last night.
It's all right. Favorite Pokemon. Let's end there. Favorite Pokemon over the years. If you could only catch one and level it up to 99 and get through a game, what Pokemon would it be? I'll start. I'd go Flygon. Gen 3, difficult to find, great dragon type, looks so cool, Flygon. I'd go Flygon every day of the week. Close second would be like a Gyarados or a Charizard, maybe even a Raichu. I like a Raichu, but my number one is Flygon all the way through, baby girl.
I liked an Onix.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, I don't know why. It's just the first one that came to my mind. Or a Snorlax.
Okay.
You know,
there was also Steelix in Gen 2 as well, which is the steel version of Onix.
Because I mean, I'm very OG one, so you know, beyond that, I didn't do much. And like, I remember Snorlax blocked the roads in that first green so fucking much. I was so sick of going up to that guy, going like, how do I move you, you fat motherfucker?
And he just body slams you and then goes to sleep and gets all his health back, and you're like, oh my lord.
Yeah. Ali, yours?
This is really hard for me. I was only actually just reminded of this Pokemon before we started, but I think I would have to actually say Rayquaza.
Yeah, sick Pokemon.
I think it takes me back to my Ruby days. I was starting to have the cognitive function to play this game properly. You know, I wasn't fresh out of the womb. And
oh my word.
Just came out of the womb holding an SP Game Boy.
Game Boy straight in the head.
And it was, you know, you kind of got the legendary, but that was a given. And then it was this additional challenge after the fact. And I think the reward you feel, and it is strong. And it was my first introduction to Dragon and everything like that. And it was just a super powerful Pokemon.
Yeah, and Rayquaza actually had a side mission attached to it. Like, you didn't have to do it as part of the base game. So it's kind of the first introduction of, hey, if you want to do this extra thing, go do it. And the reward was crazy. It was a great fucking Pokemon.
You got to give them credit for continuing to come up with names for these fucking things.
Yeah.
Well, I think they have huge writing teams now, and I think they take a lot of inspiration from
do
big
they
fans.
have huge writing teams? I mean, I'm sure they do, but you could just sit in a room and just go do all these letters go together at the same time.
Yeah.
Like,
Pinsindleton.
Yeah.
They've gotten lazier. They've gotten lazier. Now in the new gens, you kind of, I can't remember an exact example, but there'll be an elephant and it's called like Elephantino. And you're like, okay. I mean,
here's a rock Pokemon.
they've
Rocco.
gotten tired. They've gotten tired.
Yeah, which you can't. Can't build a franchise like that and get tired.
Yeah.
Anyway.
that's Pokemon.
That's Pokemon. Thanks for listening. Don't be an NPC.
Keep leveling up.
Oh,
Thanks,
well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Also, I'm the sister.
Yes.
I should have added
My
that.
dearest sister.
All right.
Family
Pokemon
affair.
nerd.